You're watching Joy News today with me, Francisca Kakra-Forsen. A former head of the Volta River Authority, Dr. Charles Rekubrobe, says he will go to court to stop the Public Utilities Regulatory Commission from increasing tariffs for water and electricity. PURC has said it will adjust tariffs upward by the close of the year. Now, the energy expert says a tariff review exercise by the PURC is premature and wants it postponed since the last review has not fully run its course. He spoke earlier on Joy News Desk.
The merit is completely undebatable. Action from PURC, its remit is to consider both the utility interest and the consumer interest. Too much emphasis has been put on utility interest. They've been promising better quality service if we pay tariff. It's happened so many times. The quality service, no, the service has not even come, never mind the quality. So it is justifiable that we as consumers, we must demand fair treatment from the PURC.
So should the PURC go ahead to implement this plan proposal by the various utility providers, seeking close to about 200% increment in tariffs?
I don't think that the law allows it. I will tell everybody on your network that I will go to the court to stop PURC doing that because it is not time for it to do it. The law says they must review tariffs. Major reviews must take place every 3 years. So it's not a question of if they go ahead. They will be in breach of their own regulations and law.
And will it be the first time?
Let us start to live by the laws of this land for once. And if those we put in charge of our affairs have no respect for our laws, it's about time we actually started asking that the laws be obeyed.
Government has denied claims by former Attorney General and anti-corruption campaigner that government and Tiger Eye collaborated in the undercover investigations into the judiciary. Communications Minister Edward Omane-Boamah, in an interview on Joy FM Super Morning Show today, described Mr. Amidu as palpably wrong, saying that the investigative piece only came to government attention after it was concluded.
Martin Amidu is palpably wrong, and it is quite unfortunate that a man with his experience, he can pass as the longest serving Deputy Attorney General and Minister for Justice. He also became the substantive minister at a point during the presidency of Professor John Evans Atta-Mills. May his soul rest in perfect peace. He's wrong. Kojo, this investigation came to the attention of government when it had been concluded. And so one is at a loss why a man who could have been a one-time vice president of this nation, if the NDC had won the 2000 elections, would want to put himself on this destructive path. In a way, I have pity for my senior colleague, Honorable Martin Amidu. And so I think that we should take it as he not having processed a set of facts right. The fact remains that no such collaboration in this case existed between government and Tiger Eye PI, and I think it must rest there.
The other accusation he makes is that this is not all of it, that indeed there is also a video that depicts some corruption captured in the legislature.
If you know how Tiger Eye PI goes about its task, as we have been told, it is an undercover investigation. So unless it is brought to your attention, either as an individual or as a government official, you will not be in a position to know. If Mr. Martin Amidu has any such information, we will be happy to preview it even before Tiger Eye puts that out. And so why not if there is any second tiger eye is encouraged to put it out, it will help in President Mahama's determined fight against corruption, which is anchored on the blueprint of the National Anti-Corruption Action Plan, which is being implemented as we speak now. And so, Tiger Eye may be conducting an investigation into the legislative arm of government. It is possible, it may not also be possible.
Communications Minister Dr. Edward Omanibuama in that interview with Kojo Yankson. Managing editor of the New Crusading Guide newspaper, Malik Kweku Bako, has rubbished claims by former Attorney General Martin Amidu that investigative journalist Anas Arimiyao Anas may not have been entirely truthful about his recent expose on corruption in the judiciary. The former AG himself, a well-known anti-corruption crusader, is suggesting that recent judicial expose, which led to the suspension of some judges, was commissioned by government, which he says is manipulating the evidence to its political advantage. Mr. Bako, however, says Mr. Amidu has got it all wrong.
Relative to the aspects that concern Anas and Tiger Eye, because there are other elements of that piece which I have no problem with, but those dealing with Anas and Tiger Eye with particular emphasis on the judicial corruption saga, I think the former Attorney General, who is a very good friend of mine, is a long-standing comrade, actually got it all wrong. And I have indicated that to him personally.
Which aspects in particular do you...
The substantive points. He makes the point about the project was commissioned by government. That's an obvious untruth. If he challenges, then it's incumbent on him to provide us with something of evidential value to back up his claim.
Well, and he says that he's a former Interior Minister, he's a former Attorney General. He suggests that it was during his time that this project was commissioned.
That's unfortunate. He's a man of integrity. And I'm wondering, just because you were in office in 2009 to 2011 will constitute sufficient grounds for you to begin to speculate, and I use the word adversely, he's speculating that whatever they may have discussed whilst in office constitutes a proof of his assertion today. Can't be. It's unsustainable. He left office when? 2011. This project began 2013 and ended 2015. It has absolutely no connection with government. But you see, let's be very honest with ourselves. Any time there had been government involvement or sponsorship or commissioning with Anas and Tiger Eye on any project, Anas had not hidden that fact.
Well, Mr. Amidu's comment seems to have generated a lot of interest with investigative journalist Anas Arimiyao Anas, also who's putting out a statement seeking to discredit what the former Attorney General said. My colleague Jahunyan has been reading through that statement by Anas.
Anas actually responded to Martin Amidu via his Facebook wall, which we all know, right from the beginning of the judicial bribery scandal. He's been using it to communicate to his audience as to what is going on. And just at the end of that last soundbite with Ndebugri, he was talking about the 20 names. And the 20 names he's referring to was actually first mentioned in Anas's response. Anas is saying that contrary to what Martin Amidu is talking about his selectivity in petitioning the CJ on some names and reserving other names, he actually has a list of 20 names of people who either the video recording wasn't good enough or the evidence collected wasn't substantial enough to warrant a full petition. So he basically compiled a list of 20 names that, okay, these are people who are a little bit shady. Here you go, CJ. You guys should continue to investigate, because as far as our investigations were concerned, we could not conclusively prove that these people were corrupt. So that's what Anas is saying in his response to Martin Amidu on the allegation of selectivity, saying that they're not actually selective. What they've done is to be prudent. So those that they know for sure are judges or judicial staff or people within the judiciary who collected bribes, who can be seen on camera, whose footage is clear enough to prove that they did collect bribes. He forwarded that, and there are 20 names that he has that he could not conclusively say that they have collected bribes, and therefore they handed that over to the relevant authorities, and they have not made those names public because that might jeopardize the investigations that we, that is Tiger IPI, have requested. Now, the statement actually wanted to talk about three particular things that they felt they needed to respond to out of Martin Amidu's initial statement. The first thing was the fact that the allegation that the undercover investigation was actually commissioned by the government of Ghana. They are saying that there's no proof for that because in the past, when the government of Ghana has commissioned investigations, he cites two of the Tiger IPI documentaries, the President's Assignment, in which they investigated the ECG, that's the Electricity Company of Ghana, and in the interest of the state, that's the one that was famously commissioned by Atamils about the customs and excise and preventive services when he stormed to Tema ports famously and gave that rather impassioned speech about corruption at our borders. So they say that those two were commissioned by the government. They made it clear that it was commissioned by the government, but Ghana, in the eyes of God, was done independently by Tiger PI. They had no such collaboration. They did not seek it, did not want it, did not need it, and did not require it. Now, this I'm quoting directly from the Facebook page of Anna. So they are saying that it was a gargantuan task that they had to undertake unaided and unassisted. So for Mr. Amidu to come at this time and say that it was actually commissioned by government, they feel was quite unfair.
Away from that, 7 suspects who were arrested in connection with the murder of a New Patriotic Party member in Sawasi in the Ashanti region are expected to appear before court today. They are being charged with murder, causing damage, among others. Prince Appiah from Love FM in Kumasi joins us on the telephone. Prince, have they been presented in court yet?
Yeah, Francisca, as of now, the police haven't brought the suspects in court. My accused are not here, but I should say that a lot of party members are here, though they are not cladded in party colors. They are here to support what some of them are family members. They are here to support as party members as well. I have some here. Quickly, let's speak to one of them. He will speak in T, and later we'll do the translation. I come by the bar multi-TV, so what's on your phone?
The family of Abdullah.
Now, I didn't know what.
Oh, maybe as a party member, as he's one of the suspects, the bra, my anything at the buy.
One of the suspects there, Obra, Mudia.
Usman, sir.
Okay,
youth organizer.
Youth organizer. And what expectations there, then?
Oh, my expectations there. There are some bar. Yeah, any panic. You know, I will full man here. They said the bear and pay phone bill grass and now, yet met this year, so said a party the Benyan Council. Give me expectation.
Now, when you say almost face a murder, there or more a conspiracy,
oh, and they say, and the Mika quarter and the interim country.
All right, Francisca, this is one of the party members who have come in solidarity with what has happened. He believes that the court will see some reasoning to allow these people to, temper justice with mercy, and then, of course, they will get some softer punishment from today's hearing. But as I speak to you, the court has not, the case has not been called. Even the suspects have not appeared before the court. The police have not brought them here. Francisca.
Very well. That's Prince Appiah with Love FM in the Ashanti region. You're watching Joy News today with me, Francisca Kakra-Forsen. Our top story, former VRA boss threatens to go to court if PURC increases utility tariffs. We'll take a break. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Joy News today. The news continues. Government has finally reached a consensus with public sector workers and the management of their Tier 2 pensions contributions. The two parties have agreed to work together in the management of the scheme. The Minister of Employment and Labour Relations, Haruna Idrisu, announced this in Accra a while ago.
By virtue of the President's mandate and authority, I appointed Peter Haibo, who is here, undoubtedly with very strong legal backing and experience in matters relating to pension, to lead a process of a discussion and negotiations with the leadership of the second-tier pension for us to see whether we could have an amicable resolution of the matter and settle out of court. I should note that the doctor-in-law here, Dr. Ayeni, advised that whatever decisions we arrive at, even as a government or as a team, will be subject to he going back to court to file same, which will require review of the instrument. So without much ado, the Peter Haibo Committee have concluded its work, and the outcome is favorable.
A member of the committee, Peter Ameibo, noted the consensus was reached because all stakeholders collaborated with the committee.
I am happy to note that under the National Pensions Act 766, it provides for a regulator, the National Pensions Regulatory Authority. It is my directive to the NPRA to issue guidelines on investment of pension money and to monitor same across the country. And in particular, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, may I now share with you some broad guidelines as was agreed by the Joint Committee. That one, multiple schemes should be allowed with the following variations. Therefore, there will be room for multiple schemes. But one, the Board of Trustees of each shall be reconstituted with representatives from employers and workers. So government will have a representative, employers will have a rep. The National Pensions Regulatory Authority has transferred some funds already, particularly those that affect the private sector, and there are some funds with the Bank of Ghana. We have no excuse to continue to leave the money lodged at the Bank of Ghana. Once the Attorney General's office is able to file a settlement as agreed by the parties, we will go back to the National Pension Regulatory Authority for a review of the instrument that will establish and govern the fourth scheme because of the variations that have been agreed to. Then subsequent to that, there will be transfers from the temporary pension funds account into those schemes so that you begin better and prudent investment of those resources.
Apologies, that was rather Labour Minister Haruna Idrisu. But away from that to politics, embattled national chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Mr. Paul Awentami Afoko, has petitioned the National Council of the party on his suspension. A 14-page petition to the council, the highest decision-making body after Congress, according to a graphic report, was received and filed by the party's General Secretary, Mr. Kwabena Ejipong. Now, Mr. Ejipong is expected to inform the council of further action. Mr. Afoko, who had 21 days to petition against his suspension, has all along pledged his determination to exhaust internal party structures in fighting the suspension. Meanwhile, MPP Member of Parliament for Bantama, Henry Kokofu, has lauded Mr. Afoko for using the internal party structures to seek redress.
Finally have decided to petition the National Council, the second highest decision-taking body of the party, which I think is a step in good direction. Without going in to the merit of the issue, because I wouldn't want to sound prejudicial here, and for that matter, is still pending before an appellate body. The aftermath of all these brouhaha has left us with some bruises, which we must admit. As we speak today, yesterday we had a very bad experience of going to bury Sadiq, and at this juncture I will only say to the bereaved family, friends and other people alike, that our hearts with them.
Were you there?
I wasn't, but the regional chairman, Untumi, was there, the vice presidential candidate was there, a lot more of our party supporters and leaders were there to show solidarity with the family. Having said that, we are on the path of bringing about peace within us, and Mr. Poafoku's decision. I've heard people saying it's too late, you should have done it earlier on, but I think it's better.
Is it not within the period? Is it a 21-day period?
Yeah, sure. So that's why I used to tell people, I mean, within 21-day period.
What do you think? You think it's too late?
Oh, no. I think it would have been, if it had come a bit earlier, it would have calmed down nerves, and then we wouldn't have experienced most of the things that went on last week. However, the right to appeal or the when to do that remains within his own rights, constitutional rights, and he has exercised his rights according to the dictates of his thinking and his aspirations. I can only wish my
compatriot,
my compatriot, my patriot, fellow patriot, I can only wish him well in his endeavor to get the decision either reversed or whatever otherwise.
Is it not more like his endeavor to get justice?
Well, let me recall what our flag bearer Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo said in the earlier days when these things started. He said he would have wished that we hadn't reached that point. However, having gotten to that point and the decision had been taken, he appealed to all of us, the supporters of the party, to respect the authority and the decision until steps are taken to reverse the decision or whatever. So it was his message at that time was in three folds. Yes, we could have avoided it. Now here we are, a decision from neck on our hands. Let us respect it. And then the third thing, taking advantage of the window of opportunity.
The Greater Accra Regional NDC Chairman Ade Kokwa has been speaking about some strategies the party is adopting to win the 2016 elections. My colleague Ivy Jamfi is there and joins us on the telephone. Ivy, so tell us more about these strategies.
We can start off by their biometric registration and exhibition. He mentioned that the Greater Accra region started capturing the data of some of its party members in their party booklet in all 34 constituencies in the region, and he mentioned that some those registrations are going to capture all the members. Those who are not able to capture their names in the biometric register will not take part in the election. And then he mentioned some disciplinary actions that he took against some party members who did not go through the correct processes in engaging in addressing their grievances, but they resulted to media engagements and destruction of party property. Some of them are Okante Ayiku of the Weja Bawe constituency and another person from the Adan constituency. And then he also mentioned that the Lojakuku and the case with the bloated register at the Lojakuku constituency. He said the case is under investigation, and then they are putting measures in place to make sure that everything is calm in anticipation for the 2016 elections and then the parliamentary elections.
Ivy, did he speak about the claims of a bloated register?
He didn't really address that.
All right, we'll leave it here. That's Ivy Jamfi. Thank you very much. Now, scores of passengers have sustained various degrees of injuries in an accident on the Abuabo-Enuam Road in Kumasi. The brakes of the urban Kia vehicle reportedly failed and ran into a parked articulated truck, injuring the passengers in the urban bus. Now, the injured were immediately rushed to the hospital, and the driver of the vehicle is said to have suffered major injuries on both legs and other parts of his body. Now, Joy News has been speaking to an eyewitness. Well, we cannot bring you that interview with the eyewitness, but you just saw shots from the accident scene. You're watching Joy News Today with me, Francisca Kakra-Forson. In a bit, we'll find out the latest in business. Please stay with us. Businesses in Ghana and Africa have been challenged to take the necessary steps in ensuring that a green culture is instilled into all their operations. According to the Director of Logistics and Value Chain at the Ministry of Trade and Industry, Papa Bartels, ensuring business activities across all sectors of the company are executed with the environment in mind is the surest way businesses could be sustained.
What it is that we need to, as a country and as a continent, go green. And the reason why we need to do that is to ensure that whatever we do in enterprise development, especially, we should infuse greenness into the activities that we undertake. That would ensure sustainability, and then would also ensure that we are able to create jobs. In going green, nothing should be wasted. Every bit of whatever we do should either be plowed back into the enterprise that we are developing, or it should, go into broadening, that particular activity. If we are able to go green and we dip deep into greenness, ultimately we would manage our economy better, because in crafting whatever economic policy that we have, we would look at ways in which, ways that will inure to the benefit of the country.
Papa Bartels is Director of Logistics and Value Chain at the Ministry of Trade and Industry, and he was speaking at a regional forum dubbed Greening Industries and Green Entrepreneurship, promotion as a driver of sustainable and inclusive growth in rural Africa. Now, payment of the 1% tourism levy is now being extended to operators of travel and tour, as well as car rentals. This is as part of initiatives to boost collections for the Tourism Development Fund, which has generated almost 14 million cedis 3 years after it became operational.
About 14 million cedis generated so far was primarily from hotels and restaurants across the country. But Joy businesses learnt about half of car rental companies in the capital have been registered for payment of the levy. The process is expected to be completed and extended to the travel and tour operators by the end of the year.
The registration and certification of the accommodation is picked, I would say. We are now extending it to the travel trade. And travel trade comprises the car rentals, the travel agencies and travel tours. So we have sensitized them, and we are equally extending the registration exercise and then certification. Currently we have registered a couple of the car rentals in Greater Accra region. This exercise will continue across the length and breadth of the country so that we could achieve 100% collection. Anybody that is registered and certified to collect will duly collect and pay the required amount to the fund.
Plans are also already underway to rope in eateries, popularly called chop bars, into the payment of the levy, and this is expected to begin with the sensitization exercise this month.
Music company Upswing has introduced into Ghana the latest large-capacity speakers and pro audio equipment from renowned manufacturer Electro Voice. The equipment, which is being marketed in Africa for the first time, is expected to boost Ghana's music industry.
Players in the music industry converge in Accra to catch a glimpse and acquire knowledge about the Electro Voice X2 advanced line array system. The new equipment caters to the market of concerts, outdoor and indoor events. Sales manager of Bosch Communication Systems, Mario Bentley, shares what's unique about the new speakers and pro audio equipment.
You want a mid-size line array. You want it to be light, at the same time powerful, at the same time affordable. Okay, we provide you everything, including all of the amplification, all of the racking. Everything is done, truly tested at the factory, and you get a complete system. and that's the key selling point.
Eric Autry is marketing manager of Upswing Music, the Ghanaian company marketing the product.
This is the first step. The second step is to be able to connect with our customers and build a strong relationship and offer the adequate education about pro audio equipment and events, sound and stuff like that to the entertainment industry and churches and DJs and all those people to understand what the need is for us to have good sound and what the importance of that is to our events and our businesses. And from there we begin to, deepen the relationship, and after a deepened relationship we can be able to, correct some of the ills in the system.
The business partnership between Upswing and Bosch has lasted for a year and a half.
Well, that's it for business, but don't go away, more coming up. Hello again, you're watching Joy News today with me, Francisca Kakra-Forson. President of the Upper West Regional House of Chiefs and Nandomna, Dr. Charles Pori-Puobechir VII, has called for the re-election of John Mahama as president. He stated that considering the challenges President Mahama has faced since he assumed office and what he has done for the country, it is fair for him to be retained. Now, Dr. Charles Pobe made the statement when President Mahama called on members of the Upper West House of Chiefs in Wa.
Performed very well.
And the fact is that John Mahama has performed very well.
And he's still performing well.
And he's still performing well.
And so, like Conrad,
and like Conrad,
yeah, that is the captain. He should be given a second chance.
He should be given a second chance.
I will say a third chance because the Constitution has not allowed it.
I will say a third time because the Constitution does not allow it.
That one I'll be violating the 1992 Constitution.
That one I'll be violating the 1992 Constitution.
Yes. So, ladies and gentlemen.
So, ladies and gentlemen.
And nominate and for nominate here in the Upper West.
And nominate and for nominate here in the Upper West region.
For those of us who do not know.
And for those of us who do not know.
The Upper West region.
The Upper West region
was created by His Excellency Flight Lieutenant General John Rawlings, DC chairman then.
PNDC chairman then.
The UDS.
The UDS
was the work also His Excellency Flight Lieutenant J.J. Rawlings when he took his Peace Award.
Was the work of His Excellency John Rawlings. Jerry John Rawlings.
He donated all his $50,000 towards the creation of the UDS.
Yes, when he won an award, his award, he donated the money to the UDS.
$50,000.
$50,000 then.
I was there.
I was there.
I was a member of the House in 1989 when the Upper West Region was created.
Well, President Mahama on his part spoke about plans by government to fix the power crisis in the country.
Electricity, we have extended power to all parts of this country. So today, as I speak, south of the Sahara, aside from South Africa, Ghana has the highest access of electricity in this area. 76% of our people are currently connected to the national grid. And by the time we finish the projects that we're doing, of which Upper West is still benefiting, we would have moved that figure to 85% of our population. And so we've extended power. We have problems with generation, what they call doomsday, but we're on the way to resolving it. And as I've said, I'm not the person who likes to push the blame on somebody. God has put me in this place at this time, and so it's my responsibility to resolve the issue. And so I'm not going to talk about who didn't do what to end us in this situation, but I can talk about what I am doing to end the power outages. And we're doing our best now. We've ordered a new power barge, which is, as I speak, is sailing towards Ghana. And when it arrives, it will be fixed, and it will add another 225 megawatts of power into our generation. Currently, we're running a gap of about 300 to 400 megawatts. That means the demand for power exceeds the supply by about 300 to 400 megawatts. If we get 225 megawatts into the system, that will reduce the gap that we. Second plant.